Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. A little bit of a laid back approach today. Nice garden, nice hot day in the UK and a little bit of hot news from the United Stand. Seriously though, Kalidou Koulibaly linked to Manchester United quite strongly, and I'm intrigued by this. I am intrigued and I'm very excited by this as well, because Koulibaly is a player that we've mentioned a lot on the United Stand over the last 8 months. He was a player that Jose Mourinho wanted to bring to Manchester United. And I actually do think, I've got no proof on this, but I do think United would have moved to Koulibaly in January if Mourinho had managed to survive that long. And I think what's actually happened is, I think that I've been on about this for a few weeks now. I think Manchester United have kept that deal alive. I think there was work done. As we know, with Griezmann in the past, when he pulled out at the last minute in June because of the transfer ban with Atletico Madrid, United had been working on that deal for a good 8 months. And I think United were working on the Koulibaly deal with Mourinho back in November, October time. And I think United have kept that deal going. And I think it helps is that Mourinho hasn't got a club. Because I think if Mourinho had gone to Real Madrid, or he had gone to PSG, or he had gone to Inter Milan, I think he would steal in and take Koulibaly, because I think he's a player that he likes. But he would be massively beneficial for Manchester United. He turns 28 in June. He's a leader. He's dominant. He's good on the ball. He's quick. He's strong. He's very good in the air. He would be absolutely perfect for Manchester United. And I think we're sleeping on the centre-back issue a bit. I think we are. I think that... Well, let me just say, actually, a few people are asking, well, where's all this coming from? Well, as you know, I have a theory that we will be in for Koulibaly. Would you sell Martial if a big offer came in for 80 million, says Elliot Lawless. I'll take some of your questions in a minute. But Elliot, I'll come back to that. Would I sell Martial for 80 million? We'll come back to that. Let's talk about Koulibaly first. So I have a theory on Koulibaly, and it's a theory. I've also heard from a few people that we are in for Koulibaly. But today, in the UK, it's really hit hard. Daily Mirror, again, as I said, the Daily Mirror isn't particularly reliable, but they're saying that Manchester United are in for him. Italian reports are talking about it, but they're talking about the Daily Mirror link. And then there's also a couple of other people talking about it. And I think it's positive, because for me, it was just a theory. It was just a theory. But I actually think that Manchester United will make a move for Koulibaly. Whether they can get him or not, I've got to say there are two things about this. The things that concern me about a Koulibaly deal is the cost. The cost is going... I mean, Ancelotti has described him as the best centre-back in the world. Personally, he's a very good centre-back, but I would probably say that Van Dijk is better than him at the moment, as much as it pains me to say that. But he's certainly in the top 5 centre-backs in the world, and that's what Manchester United need to get. We need to get that. There is this talk of the moment where we're wandering away from centre-back, and centre-back is pretty much, for me, centre-back and centre defensive midfield are the two priority positions. I know we need a right winger and I know we need another midfielder, but for me, centre-back is a massive priority. And it seems to... There's been a few rumours over the last few weeks, we want Twansibi back. Ollie's happy with what he's got. I mean, how can you be happy with what you've got when you've got Phil Jones and Chris Smalling? Chris Smalling's a backup centre-back. Phil Jones is a backup cleaner. And Rojo's going to go. Twansibi's going to come back, but is Twansibi ready for this? Is Twansibi ready for this? Yeah, I think Twansibi should have another loan. But regardless of all those things, and let me just be quite honest with this, I think Victor Lindelöf's had a very, very good season at Manchester United. But what if Victor Lindelöf's not actually that good? Has anybody thought about that? I mean, Matthew Eden says we need 2 centre-backs. What would your plan be for Greenwood next season, says Alvis? I'd play him. I really, really would. But with regards to Lindelöf, everyone says he's had a great season. Excuse me. And Luke Shaw won Player of the Year. But I think it was slim pickings. I mean, we've conceded a lot of goals this season. What if Victor Lindelöf is a good centre-back in a team that's fighting for 6th? What if Victor Lindelöf in a team that you want to fight for the title is just not good enough? So you've got to bear that in mind. I think Lindelöf at the moment is our best centre-back, but how good is he as a centre-back? Koulibaly, Varane, even, Skriniar, a De Ligt, someone like that is what Manchester United need. Whether you go and get 2 centre-backs or 3 centre-backs or 1 centre-back, you've got to get one. You've got to get one. And Koulibaly would be the one for me. Absolutely. I mean, this has got me excited. Now, whether we can do it or not, well, that's going to be open to debate. But if United can bring in a centre-back of that quality, it immediately gives our season, next season, some impetus. It immediately improves us in a very, very poor area. And that is the bottom line. Manchester United defensively, even with one of the world's best goalkeepers, I think he was the world's best goalkeeper a year ago. I think he struggled this year and maybe De Gea has lost that mantle. And maybe De Gea will leave. which will make us weaker anyway. But Koulibaly coming in, or any top-class centre-back coming in to Manchester United, would massively improve an area where we're a joke. I mean, you know what? I think we forget about this. I think we do like to wander into blaming the forwards like Lingard and Rashford and Sanchez and Lukaku and blaming the midfielders. But actually, some of the goals we've conceded have been just terrible. Absolutely terrible goals. Look at the 2 against Cardiff. Look at the 1 against Huddersfield. Defensively, we've been terrible all season. You stuck Van Dijk in Manchester United's defence, we would improve massively. And that's what you get with Koulibaly. So if Manchester United can go and do a deal like this excites me massively. This gives me enthusiasm. I don't want to look back. I don't want to look back at last season. I'll talk about it because it's relevant as to what we're trying to do. But I want to look forward. And if you could go and do a signing like this, then it would make a lot of difference to where we're going as a football club. The Europa League, a lot of people talking about the Europa League, a lot of people talking about Wan-Bissaka and Harry Maguire. I would be happy with Harry Maguire. I'm not going to lie. I would be happy with Harry Maguire. But Koulibaly's a different quality centre-back. And Wan-Bissaka's a good right-back. I'm not going to deny that. But would Koulibaly come to Manchester United because we're in the Europa League? Yeah. You know, he's been playing for Napoli. Napoli are not going to win the Champions League. They're not going to win Serie A. He is at an age now, coming up at 28 in June, where he needs to be looking at a move. And I think Manchester United could do the deal. It would cost a lot of money. I don't listen to this nonsense. I mean, there's talk of 150 million euro, which is basically 130 million pounds. No way. No way do you say, we don't live in that world. We don't live in that world. If we sell Paul Pogba, he's going to probably go for about 150 million pounds. You're telling me that we're going to then spend 130 on Koulibaly. Centre-backs are not going to go over the 100 million pound mark yet. And they shouldn't do. They shouldn't do. I think Koulibaly, 80 million pounds, and Napoli will bite our hands off. The problem with Harry Maguire is, I do like Harry Maguire, but I think if you go for Harry Maguire, he's going to cost you probably 70, 75 million, because Leicester will say, well, look at Van Dijk, went from Southampton to Liverpool, look at the job he's done. They'll say, well, look, Leicester, Southampton, we're better than them. So a lot of people are now, well, look, somebody just said there that somebody has confirmed that the deal is just about done. It wouldn't surprise me, and I'll be very, very proud if we do sign Koulibaly, because as you know, if you've been following the United stand, I've been on about this deal for a very, very long time. I've said that it makes sense. I knew that we're after him with Mourinho, and I didn't think that we would move away from that target because he's a top class one. Nick J, thank you for the contribution. So if we sign him, I feel like it's 1-0 Goldbridge. Not because I've got any leaks, not because I've got any sources. I haven't. It's just a theory that I've had about Koulibaly. We knew that Mourinho wanted him, and I think that United have carried on with that deal and had it lined up, and it would be absolutely fantastic. Koulibaly was awful against Arsenal, Jordan Charles, but are you going to say that we shouldn't sign a player because he plays bad? We don't live in FIFA. We don't live in Football Manager. We don't live in this consistent performing all the time. Centre-backs, look at Van Dijk against Barcelona in the first leg. Absolutely shite. So centre-backs can have a bad game. But Koulibaly was absolutely sensational against Liverpool in both Champions League games. He played very, very well against PSG as well. He's played very well for a number of years for Napoli. He's a very, very good centre-back, and he's far better than what we've got. Are we not going to buy players because they had a bad game against Arsenal? Anthony Alassi says, Mark, I love these type of videos as it allows the entire fan base to debate and have their say on which potential players United will sign in the window, says Anton Alassi. I do like doing the phone videos as well in the summer because it's just a little bit more relaxed, isn't it? So yeah, smash a like on the video if you'd like Koulibaly at United. I would. He's my number one target. He's always been my number one centre-back target. I like the idea of De Ligt. I like the idea of Varane. I like the idea of Harry Maguire. But for me, it would definitely be Koulibaly. And this is how fragile this summer is for Manchester United. This is how some people are just asking me what I'm actually sat on. I can show you what I'm sat on here. I'm sat on this piano. I might be able to turn it on for you. I can actually. Go on. Come on. Why are you not working? I got it from this crap Chilean footballer on the cheap. Anyway, so, I mean, look, if you get Koulibaly and you get Bruno Fernandes, we are jumping the gun a little bit. But those two signings would massively improve Manchester United and would make it a very, very exciting summer. And we will do more deals than that. Of course we will. So I am excited by this. Obviously, we've done plenty of transfer windows on the United stand, and many of you have done them with us. So you know that being linked, heavily linked, doesn't mean that you will get the deal over the line. But it's encouraging because the fact that there is a lot of people talking about Koulibaly. A lot of different sources talking about Koulibaly. I've spoken about him. You know I have. I've been speaking about him for a long time. But that's just a theory. To now be hearing things coming out of the club, coming out of the media, that Manchester United are after him is absolutely fantastic. Another thing I want to talk about, I want to take some of your comments as well, because I've got a few minutes. Obviously, Nicolas Pépé has been mentioned. We speak about him on the Transfer Daily. You can watch that every morning at 7 a.m. Zachary Purvis says also I would get Koulibaly and start him and Victor with Axel as a number 3 centre-back. Keep Smalling as a third choice. Look, I don't mind keeping Twansibi at the club if we also sign Koulibaly. I'm happy with that. But I do think that Twansibi would benefit from a move. Second goal against Cardiff was lazy defending, says the Doodle Guy Gamer. Well, remember at that point, McTominay was playing centre-back as well, and I think Pogba just let his man go. Thierry Meinrich says, bring back Ravel Morrison. I mean, talking about Manchester United youth, a very interesting story coming out today that Angel Gomes is getting a little bit fed up at Manchester United. It's funny, we've spoken about this, haven't we? How much sense gets spoken on the United stand. There's a lot of nonsense, pink boots, there is a lot of nonsense, but over a season I think we do talk about a lot of things, and somebody just said it there. Abdul Rahim, thank you for that. He says Gomez to PSG. So there's this story that PSG are interested in Angel Gomez, somebody else as well, I forget who it was, but definitely PSG, and there is genuine interest from Angel Gomez to go there. Now this develops into impatience. Apparently he's been told he's lightweight, which is what Luke is saying. You know what? This frustrates me. I tweeted about this earlier. We have an obsession with height at Manchester United. We had it with Fellaini. We've now got it with McTominay. And I don't care what you think about McTominay. No, leave it, Alexi. You're not playing on it. Go and clean my pots. That's all you're good for. And walk my dog. Robbie needs a walk. But with regards to McTominay, I like McTominay. I like his work ethic. But let's be honest here. Scott McTominay has got nowhere near the talent of Greenwood, Chong, and Gomez. Nowhere near. But he's got way more appearances. And that, you know, under Ollie, under Mourinho, we can justify that with, well, Mourinho was obsessed with heights. He was obsessed with Fellaini, and he was. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been here for 5 months, and McTominay, has played way more games than Greenwood, Gomez, and Chong, despite them being the better talent. Now, you look at Man City, their team's full of hobbits. You know, they've got Bernardo Silva, Raheem Sterling, David Silva, Foden. They're all relatively small players, and they're the best footballing side in the league. Height doesn't matter. Manchester United seem to be obsessed with height. There's this talk that Angel Gomez isn't ready. Tahith Chong isn't ready. But this they would be being, you know, I can understand if it's true. I can understand why Angel Gomez is frustrated, because he's not being picked because he's not tall enough. It doesn't. I think he's ready as well, average person. I really do, and I think it's United are just obsessed with this effort and physicality, and it's not getting us anywhere. Start playing some of these flair players. And have you ever thought, actually, if you have got a small little player like Gomez and he's got such good control, as he turns away for somebody and they foul him, you get a free kick, you get a penalty. So it is an ancient to football approach, Adam, I agree. And it's something that I'm not happy with. But maybe, you know, somebody just said it there as well. Let me just have a look. The Doodle Guy Gamer said it, loan him to PSG. He's got 2 years left on his contract. If we're not gonna play Angel Gomez next season, I can tell you now. So loan him out. Nick J, Mark, a player not mentioned is I can never get his name right. Romagnoli at Milan, fantastic defender and would be a perfect partner for Lindelöf, would be easier to take from Milan. He is a very, very good centre-back, Nick. He is a very, very good centre-back. What about the language barrier with Koulibaly? Well, you know, you're always going to get a language barrier with people who don't speak the language, but I would imagine being... he plays for Senegal, doesn't he? So I would imagine he's got a good grasp of French. And we do have some French players at the club. And you know what? He might be unlike Valencia, and he might actually be asked to learn the language. So, you know, that would be a help, wouldn't it? What happened with Harry Maguire, says RDW? I don't know. We're talking about Koulibaly. Some really, really lots and lots of links around United and Koulibaly today. And a number of journalists that are, I would put them on the... So not super reliable. I think if Simon Stone comes out and says we're after Koulibaly, I would really set up and take notice. But there's a few on the periphery who are United journalists who are talking about it quite strongly. So it would be good. And somebody just said that Koulibaly actually does speak English. We can get better by bringing in good coaches, says Adiola Babotundi. Everyone, Koulibaly already speaks English. There's a few people talking about that. I mean, I don't know that. I don't have that information. I don't know whether Koulibaly speaks English or not. Lucas said, is Koulibaly too old? No, not at all. I mean, I was down in London today. I've just got back actually, and I was speaking to the 90-minute boys, and Scott, who's a United fan, was saying that he really wants United to bring in a player or two who are 27, 28, experienced leaders, because 28 is not old. It's not old. The problem was Mourinho was obsessed with bringing in 28, 29-year-olds who I felt were coming towards the end of their career, like Matic and Sanchez. They're on the decline. We bought them for a lot of money on the decline. But 28 is great, as somebody just said. But Koulibaly is, if you know anything about him, he's very athletic. He's very strong. He's got a good injury record. He's not out for long. He reads the game well. He has got pace. He is only just turning 28. I mean, you're 28 and a day. So he's not 28 till June. So basically, he's only just 28 at the start of the season. You would get one season where he's 28, one where he's 29, one where he's 30, one where he's 31. So you're going to get 3-4 years of him, and he's pretty much in his prime. Because let's not forget, Alderweireld has just turned 31 or turns 31 next year, and people want him. So, he's 4 years. He's got 4 seasons on Alderweireld, really. So I don't think his age is a problem. One of my favourite clips from last season in general, and all right, it's got a bias towards Koulibaly, was when he was playing that game and he's shepherding the back four, and one of his fullbacks or his midfielders isn't close enough to the player, so he actually virtually picks him up and shoves him into the player's path. That's leadership. That's what Manchester United need. They need that sort of character. It's a shame because I always think about Koulibaly, and I think it may be because obviously both being African centre backs, we've got an African centre back in Eric Bailly, and I think that it's a shame with Bailly because I haven't even mentioned him as centre back options, but he does things with his body that Spider-Man wouldn't do. It's not a surprise to me that he's always injured. He is ridiculously reckless with his own body. He's all action, all heart, and he's absolutely stupid what he does with his body. And I don't think you can tame that out of him. So I don't really think Eric Bailly is a player for Manchester United. Having said that, if he went to someone like Spurs or Arsenal, you could see him being a really good defender. Martial for 80 million, and what would it take to be Ollie out? Says Elliot Lawless. Let's take some of your questions then. Look, if we got Koulibaly and Bruno Fernandes over the line in the next month, I would be very happy with that as a start for the transfer window. I don't know about you. Would I sell Anthony Martial for 80 million? I think 80 million pounds for Anthony Martial is a good fee. I wouldn't sell Anthony Martial. I think we've lost Ander Herrera. We're probably going to lose. We might lose Pogba and De Gea. I don't think you're going to lose. We've got too many. What I would say about Martial is there's too many other players to go. You've got to get rid of, people like Young and Jones and Matic are still going to be here next year, and I don't want them to be. Darmian Rojo, Sanchez, Lukaku. Martial's way down the list. But what I would say about that is, and Boo just said, we'll take Martial at Chelsea. The thing about it is, you can Tamal says Martial's too lazy, get rid of him. I don't agree with that. And what I would say is, they might not admit it. A Chelsea fans just admitted it there. But Arsenal, Chelsea, Spurs definitely would take Martial. I think Liverpool would take Martial. They'd probably have him on the bench because they've got better forwards. But all our rivals would take Martial because they know what he's capable of. So I wouldn't sell Anthony Martial. He's still one of my favourite players. But 80 million would be a fair fee for him, I think. But I wouldn't sell him at all. Nowhere near. Championship next season if we don't buy good, says Nicholas Pitts. You know what? Somebody asked me a question today. Could Wolves finish above Manchester United next season? Yes, they could. If United stand still, Wolves are only going to get better. Wolves got promoted and finished 7th. They've got a manager who knows what he's doing. They've got a team that knows what they're doing. And they've got a very, very good recruitment. So Wolves, if we stay the same, Wolves, I would say, probably will finish above us next season, which is why we've got to get the right signings in. Koulibaly's not been confirmed. Let's not move too quick. I just think there's a lot of stories out there that were in for Koulibaly, and for me, I will take that at the moment. I don't even like it when transfers come out of the blue. I know it would be nice for United, but I actually, as much as I moan about it, I do like we're linked to him. Oh, it's getting stronger and stronger. I do quite like that. So let's hope it's the first step towards a Koulibaly deal, because I think he would be absolutely superb for Manchester United. I really, really do. I'd love him to come to the club. He'd be my number one centre-back. And you know what? If Koulibaly signed for us in the next few weeks, the minute he signed, I'd be like, wow, we're a much better team next season defensively straight away. He's going to improve us absolutely massively. And we're closing in on Nicolas Pépé. But again, Manu, that's from the Daily Mirror. So you've got to be careful about the Daily Mirror. The Daily Mirror are reporting about Koulibaly, but a lot of other people are reporting about Koulibaly. Pépé, I've only really seen it from the Mirror. And I don't really trust the Daily Mirror, to be honest with you. Not on their own. Not on their own. And let's not forget, and I've got to mention this on the Transfer Daily as well, newspapers need to sell papers. Newspaper websites need clicks. And they know you mention a name and you mention Manchester United and you get thousands of clicks. That's what's going to happen. So Nicolas Pépé to Manchester United. It's a safe article to write. We need a right winger. He's probably going to lose. He's probably going to move. Oh, let's mention Pépé and Manchester United. There could be absolutely nothing in it, or there might be something in it. Guru says, I would love Bruno, Neves or Rice or any good centre defensive midfielder. Mounier, Koulibaly or Maguire or Squinny or Ruben Diaz. If this happens, we could be very well settled by January in the next transfer window. Yeah, I agree. It's about making the right signings. And, you know, I was encouraged by us being linked to Daniel James last week. And I'm very encouraged by the Bruno Fernandes thing. I do think we're trying to sign Bruno Fernandes, which is why he's number one in my Hotometer on the Transfer Daily. If you don't know what that is, where have you been? Watch Transfer Daily every morning at 7 a.m. I don't necessarily think we're going to get Bruno Fernandes, because I think if Man City do want him, why wouldn't he go to Man City? But I do think we're trying to get him. With Koulibaly, I've always felt we're in for him. I don't think there's many people looking for a Koulibaly sort of signing. I think Liverpool wouldn't mind Koulibaly playing next to Van Dijk, but I don't think they want to pay 80 million for another centre-back. Man City don't really want to pay that money either. I think it's there for United to do the deal, and I really, really hope that we do. But anyway, I'm going to get off because I'm getting a bit hot in here. None of these transfers matter if Young is still right back, says Capone. You know what, mate? You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. If we start next season with Ashley Young at right back, then Ollie's going to lose. He's going to lose the fans. He will lose the fans. And I don't like to say that because I love Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, but he can't treat it as a joke anymore. How did Ashley Young play so many games at the end of the season as captain? It's like, oh, he just thinks he can get away with picking him. I tell you what, I think there's been a lot of patience with Ollie, but if he picks Jones and Young next season, he will lose the fans because it's all about next season. Everyone's willing to give him a summer, see what he's all about. He's got to buy a right back. You're absolutely right. Anyway, please do smash a like on the video if you like this style of a video. We'll probably do more of these over the summer because it's easy just to pick the phone up and have a chat with you. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, bottom right-hand corner. Smash a like, and I'll be back with you live in the studio at 8 o'clock tonight. Speak to you all soon.